A student's overview of the ageless wisdom was carefully compiled from the following books by Alice A. Bailey. A Treatise on Cosmic Fire. Esoteric Psychology, Volumes 1 and 2. Esoteric Healing. Esoteric Astrology. The Rays and the Initiations. Students are encouraged to download the free PDF version of this overview by following the link in the video's description, or to order a printed copy at cost from thebookpatch.com, but are advised to read the original, unabridged books in order to gain deeper insight into the ageless wisdom. Students are also invited to join our online study group at facebook.com/groups/students of the ageless wisdom. Chapter 12, A Treatise on Cosmic Fire. The Egoic Lotus. This section concerns the subject of the causal body from the point of view of fire. By studying the solar system as the physical manifestation of a solar logos, we are investigating a. The physical permanent atom of a solar logos as contained within the logoic causal body on its plane. b. The 7 types of force, or the 7 logoic spiralae within that permanent atom. c. The correspondence between the planes and the 7 spiralae in the permanent atom of a solar logos. Centers, chakras or wheels of energy. a. Centers of force. Man has 7 force centers, of which 3 are paramount: head /heart /throat, and eventually synthesize the other 4, producing their eventual obscuration, or their passing out of manifestation. This is paralleled in the logoic centers, the planetary schemes, which will one day pass into obscuration and transmit their energy to the major 3 schemes. b. The causal body as the monadic heart center. The causal body is the correspondence in the monadic manifestation to the heart center and is seen as the 12-petaled lotus. Of these 12 petals, the innermost 3 are as yet unrevealed, or are embryonic, and hence the causal body is usually referred to as a 9-petaled lotus, or as a wheel of fire with 9 spokes. The inner 3 which complete the 12 concern the final and essentially spiritual stages of his evolution. The 12-petaled egoic lotus. Solar fire is dual, the fire of matter or substance and the fire of mind blended. This makes man the 6-pointed star of light, for each of these fires is triple. The fire of mind is also dual in essence, bringing in another triplicity and making the 9. When a man has awakened the 9 fires, and has unfolded fine petals, and when he has received the stimulus which is imparted at initiation, through being brought into conscious contact with the electric spark of his own particular heavenly man, they all blend and merge. Each heavenly man is also a 9-petaled lotus in the body of the solar logos. Visualize the 9-petaled egoic lotus, the heart center in the monadic consciousness, unfolding each of its petals in groups of 3 upon the 3 subplanes of the higher mental. Their unfoldment is worked out through the evolutionary process, undergone on the 3 planes in the 3 worlds, or within the halls of ignorance, of learning and of wisdom. a. Knowledge petals. First group of petals, physical plane. 1. The petal of knowledge for the physical plane. Through the breaking of the law and the ensuing suffering, the price of ignorance is paid and knowledge is achieved. This unfoldment is brought about through physical plane experience. 2. The petal of love for the physical plane unfolds through physical relationships and the gradual growth from love of self, to love of self and others. 3. The petal of sacrifice for the physical plane. This unfoldment is brought about through the driving force of circumstances and not of free will. It is the offering up of the physical body upon the altar of desire, low desire at the beginning but aspiration towards the end, although still desire. B. Love petals, second group of petals, astral plane. 1. The petal of knowledge for the astral plane. Unfoldment is brought about by the conscious balancing of the pairs of opposites, and the utilization of the law of attraction. The man passes out of the hole of ignorance where, from the point of view of the ego, he works blindly. By a realization of his essential duality he begins to comprehend causes. 2. The petal of love for the astral plane. Unfoldment is brought about through the process of gradually transmuting the love of the subjective nature, or of the self within. This has a dual effect and works through onto the physical plane in many lives of turmoil, of endeavor and failure, as a man strives to turn his attention toward the love of the real. 3. The petal of sacrifice for the astral plane. Unfoldment is brought about by the attitude of man as he consciously endeavors to give up his own desires for the sake of his group. His motive is still somewhat a blind one, and still colored by the desire for a return of that which he give and for love from those he seeks to serve, but it is of a much higher order than the blind sacrifice, which is the case in the earlier unfoldment. As a result, a dual result is observed. A. The astral permanent atom comes into full activity and radiance as regards 5 of its spirale, and the 2 atoms of the physical and astral planes are equally vibrant. B. The 3 petals of the central ring of the egoic lotus come also into full unfoldment, and the heart center of the monad is seen as a wheel of fire with 6 spokes in full energetic display and rotating rapidly. C. Sacrifice petals, third group of petals, mental plane. 1. The petal of knowledge for the mental plane. Its unfoldment marks the period wherein the man consciously utilizes all that he has gained or is gaining under the law for the benefit of humanity. 2. The petal of love for the mental plane is unfolded through the conscious steady application of the powers of the soul to the service of humanity with no thought of return, nor any desire for reward for the immense sacrifice involved. 3. The petal of sacrifice for the mental plane demonstrates as the predominant bias of the soul as seen in a series of many lives spent by the initiate prior to his final emancipation. He becomes the great sacrifice. This stage is dual in effect. A. The mental unit becomes a radiant point of light, its 4 spirale transmit force with intense rapidity. B. The 3 higher petals unfold and the 9-petaled lotus is seen perfected. End of page 57. When the fire of matter becomes sufficiently intense, when the fire of mind, or solar fire, which vitalizes the 9 petals, becomes equally fierce, and when the electric spark at the innermost center blazes out and can be seen, the entire causal body becomes radioactive. The fires of substance, vitality of the permanent atoms, escape from the atomic spheres. This is the great liberation. Such a one, in terms of human endeavor, has achieved his goal. He has passed through the 3 holes and in each has transferred that which he gained therein to the content of his consciousness. He has, in ordered sequence, developed and opened the petals of the lotus by A. opening the lower three over a vast period of time. B. Then the second series of petals are opened during a period of time covering his intelligent participation in world affairs. The order of the development of the petals and the stimulation of the fires depends upon the ray of the monad, and the subray upon which the causal body finds itself. The unfoldment proceeds slowly in the early stages and only proceeds rapidly as the man himself works at the goal with conscious effort. The ego takes no active interest in the development until the second petal in the second series is beginning to open. The ceremony of initiation is only undergone when the causal body is in a condition to respond to the will aspect of the heavenly man, and to do this through the willing cooperation of the fully conscious self. Summary. The permanent atoms are concerned with the substance aspect of existence, or becoming, while the petals of the egoic lotus deal specifically with the psychical aspect, or the development of consciousness. The inner three petals and the central nucleus embody the aspect of pure spirit. The whole secret of success in any endeavor is primarily based on a. The ability of the ego to work through the personality, using it simply as the medium of expression. B. The karma of the egoic group as it becomes more apparent on the physical plane. An understanding of group karma will lead to more intelligent cooperation and a more sympathetic understanding of group responsibilities and more adequate solutions to group problems. The study of occult psychology involves a true conception of the nature of the ego, or the arousing of the ego to full activity in manifestation. It will necessitate the sound formulation of the laws of egoic unfoldment, of the methods whereby, petal by petal, the lotus may be brought to perfection, and of the triple nature of its evolution. The laws of fire, heat, radiation and flame will be occultly investigated, and the action of one fire, the result of radiation from one's conscious sphere to another, will be realized. The time is fast approaching when the emphasis will be laid in education upon how best the young can be taught to contact their own ego, how they can be led to appropriate the knowledge and abilities of their higher self for use on the physical plane, how they can ascertain their group formation and thus work in unison with the group. Thought and fire elementals. To train people to work in mental matter is to train them to create. To teach people to know the nature of the soul is to put them in conscious touch with the subjective side of manifestation and to put into their hands the power to work with soul energy. To enable people to unfold the potencies of the soul aspect is to put them in rapport with the forces and energies hidden in the Akasha and the Anima Mundi. A man can then, as his soul contact and his subjective perception is strengthened and developed, become a conscious creator, cooperating with the plans of the hierarchy of adepts who work with ideas, and who seek to bring these ideas, planetary ideas, into manifestation upon the physical plane. As he passes through the different grades in the hall of learning, his ability so to work and his capacity to get at the thought lying behind all symbols increases. He is no longer taken in by the appearance but knows it as the illusory form which veils and imprisons some thought. End of page 58. 1. The function of thought forms. It will be noted that in studying this matter, we begin not with the exoteric form in mental matter, but with the inner life, or idea within the form and with the laws that govern the creative aspect. This function of every thought form is threefold: a. To respond to vibration. B. To provide a body for an idea. C. To carry out a specific purpose. A. Response to vibration. The object of human evolution is to enable the thinker to fully and consciously respond to every contact, and thus to utilize his sheaths as adequate transmitters. The most easily studied human thought form is the one the ego creates through which to function. He builds his sheaths by the power of thought, and the dense physical body is the best sheath that he can manufacture at any particular stage of evolution. The vibrations to which the systemic thought form must respond are many, but might be enumerated as mainly 7. 1. The vibrations of the cosmic physical plane, concerning the pranic and akashic fluids and currents. 2. The vibrations of the cosmic astral plane as they affect the physical form of divine manifestation, which involves the action upon our solar logos of the emotional quality of other cosmic entities and concerns the magnetic effect upon him of their psychic emanation. This, in view of the fact that his dense physical body is not a principle, is of a more potent nature than the first set of vibrations. 3. Vibrations from that which, within the logoic consciousness, is recognized as the logoic higher self, or his emanating source. This brings the solar system within the vibratory radius of certain constellations which have a profound importance in the evolution of the system. 4. Vibrations from Sirius via the cosmic mental plane. 5. Vibrations from the 7 rishis of the Great Bear and primarily from those 2 who are the prototypes of the lords of the 7th and 5th rays. This important point finds its microcosmic correspondence in the place which the 7th ray has in the building of a thought form, and the use of the 5th ray in the work of concretion. 6. Certain very remote vibrations, as yet no more appreciable in the logoic body than is monadic influence in the average man. 7. A series of vibrations which will become more potent as our logos nears that period which is called divine maturity, which emanates from that constellation in the heavens which embodies his polar opposite. Marriage of the logos. Always remember that response must be made by the inner embodies life, and that it will then, through a reflex action, bring about a response from the material sheath which veils it. Vibration is the result of subjective impulse, and makes its appeal to the subjective consciousness through impact upon whatever may be understood as substance. This impact is transmitted to the inner life and in due turn is retransmitted to substance in the form of recognition or realization. Thought forms persist for just as long as the factor of will, or dynamic vitality, continues to hold it together. B. To provide a body for an idea. This involves the basic principle of incarnation, activity and existence itself. This creative impulse, this tendency towards the concretion of the abstract, this inherent ability to take form has its fullest expression as yet in physical matter. The fundamental reason is that, for man, all substances with which he creates, all forms which he builds, and all processes of concretion which he carries on, are created, built and carried on within the physical body of the logos. In due course of time, as the logos achieves liberation from the trammels of physical matter, the whole objective system will come to be regarded as an idea or concept, clothed in a veil or sheath of subtler matter than the physical, and the logoic body will be viewed as the product of will and desire, and physical matter will not enter into its composition. It will simply be a desire body. An embodied idea is literally a positive impulse, emanating from mental levels, and clothing itself in a veil of negative substance. c. To carry out specific purpose. This is the most vital element in the building of thought forms. First, the consciousness aspect was seen. In the second, the more objective aspect was elaborated relating to the form, and now the will, or purpose aspect is to be considered. End of page 59. The factor of identity and the word's specific purpose involve the practical application of the will, or intent, of a conscious intelligent existence shows itself in its source, mission, method and objective. The factor of time concerns the periods of construction, utilization and dissolution. Only by the quality of a thought form will its inherent purpose be revealed. Only as its emanative processes comprehended will the nature of its mission become recognizable. They can be known by their color, vibration, direction and keynote. The factor of karma enters as every thought form comes under the law of karma through the effect it produces. It should be remembered that only cosmic and solar lords formulate thoughts and therefore come under karmic law. The lunar lords and all lesser intelligences do not do so, for where self-consciousness is not, there is no responsibility. The factor of the lesser builders concerns the fact that the specific purpose of a thought form is connected very closely with the type of deva essence of which it is constructed, and, in connection with man on the mental plane, with the type of elemental which he can control and send forth as the occupier, or vitalizing agency of the thought form. A solar logos works through the greater builders, who are the manasaputras, sending them upon the mission of constructing and vitalizing the systemic thought form with a specific purpose in view. The planetary logo work through the builders of the next three planes, Atmabuddhimanas, who construct and control the work of the planetary schemes. Men work through the builders of the lower mental planes and the astral plane, for the human thought forms are karma manasic, desire mind. In all cases, the lesser builders are swept into activity by the will of the greater builders. All are sent out by a greater life than their own upon a specific mission. They are sent forth by those who are self-conscious and are a blend of mind, body and spirit. Only the self-conscious can create, and only they are capable of purpose and coordination, of direction and control. The building entities. Ray plane entity center personality kingdom quality. 1. Atma logos head, brain, grand heavenly man seventh unity. 2-3. Buddhi. Manas planetary logos heart and throat heavenly men sixth and fifth duality. 4. Mental man solar plexus. Base of spine man fourth triplicity. 5. Astral animal generative organs third duality. 6. Etheric vegetable spleen second transitional. 7. Dense mineral none first unity. 9 questions to ask yourself. 1. In what type of matter do I usually formulate thoughts? 2. What is the psychic quality of my thought forms? 3. With what specific purpose do I use mental matter? 4. Do I work in mental matter consciously or unconsciously? 5. Do I vitalize my thought forms with a higher or low entity? 6. Do I study the laws of construction? 7. Do I realize the power of the will to vitalize? 8. Do I destroy thought forms when they have accomplished their purpose by an act of the will? 9. Do I make forms which bring karmic effects, or do I build those which go to the good of the group? End of page 60. End of chapter 12.